If you ever wanted to LS swap something, but not only do you not know where to start, but you want a platform that's going to be the easiest possible way to do it because it's your first time, this time on Low Boost, we're going to go over the 5 easiest cars to do an LS swap in. All right, before I get started on this list, I do want to throw a couple caveats out there. This isn't the list of the best LS swap cars or the ones that will hold the most power or the lightest or the fastest ones. This is the easiest ones, and that is a combination of parts that are available, online support with people that are able to answer your questions or videos or articles about how to do the swap yourself, in addition to space in the engine bay, and as well as the least amount of custom fabrication possible to be able to do the swap. Because for a lot of people, that if this is their first time doing a swap, welding and fabrication isn't usually what they're really good at or that they could do at all. So I want to focus on the cars that you don't have to do any of that on. Now, another disclaimer I'm going to throw out there too is this is not the cheapest one to LS swap, because the cheapest car to LS swap is going to be the one that you do all the custom fabrication yourself. And if this is your first time doing it, you're probably not going to be a fantastic welder. But hey, some people are. And if you can make these parts yourself, do it, because the swap kits themselves, while they make things easier, you are also paying for the convenience of all the research and development for all the parts being already made for you. So keep that in mind as well.
Number 5.
Number 5 on this list is the 2nd and the 3rd gen Camaro, putting them both into one. They're not only are they easier cars to find if you get the late 70s and 80s ones. The early 70s ones are obviously going to be a lot more expensive. Those are collector cars. But the bodies are generally the same. And most of the swap kits that'll work for a 1970 will also work for a 1980. So keep that in mind. Not only are they easy to find, but there's a lot of space in the engine bay. So there's a lot of room for you to fit multiple different combinations of headers and whatnot. Also, there is a lot of support online with people that have done this swap. And there's multiple kits that go from everything from just the engine and transmission mounts, which is the basic bare bones thing you're going to need to be able to do, all the way up to custom wiring harnesses for specific applications like your early 70s or late 70s Camaros. And a lot of the times, as you get into those builds, you're going to be putting more wiring into them than what it even originally came with. There's a lot of great support on that for the 2nd and 3rd generation Camaro.
Number 4.
The number 4 car on this list is the Nissan 240SX. It has been swapped countless times. There are multiple kits for this car. A lot of your drift boys love swapping LS engines into them because they're a really good setup for it. A lot of guys do it for track cars. There are a lot of videos on YouTube and everywhere else of people that have actually done this swap. In addition, there's a lot of resources for you to help find stuff online. There are multiple swap kits ranging from your cheap CX racing stuff to the more expensive Sicky kits that are really plug and play, and they have a lot of different components that you can get from them. But just for simplicity's sake, they also have wiring harnesses you can get from Wiring Specialties that will actually plug everything into the dashboard and it'll all work just the same. So number 4 is the Nissan 240SX. Because there are so many different LS swap kits, I tried to find as many as I could, and I put them in the description below. So there's links to all these LS swap kits for all of these different cars. If you're interested, check them out.
Number 3.
Number 3 is the FC RX-7. Now, a lot of guys like to do the FDs, and yeah, you can LS swap them and they're great. But the FCs, not only are they a lot less expensive to get, but there's a lot more space in the engine bay than you think. I know it looks like there's not because the nose comes down and everything, but there is actually a lot of space to fit the engine in this engine bay. There's also a lot of kits that you can get online to be able to throw this engine together in there. And if you, I don't know if you've ever seen on the channel, Savage Speed Garage specializes in doing these kind of swaps. They've done multiple RX-7 LS swaps, not, naturally aspirated, single turbo, twin turbo, supercharged, you name it, they've done it. So it is definitely something that you can do, and it is such a great platform and a chassis to do it on, because they're really great for racing, drifting, whatever you want to do, drag racing. They're a great platform for it. Because everything is easily bolted in there, the kits make it a lot easier too for you to be able to do it as well.
Number 2.
Number 2 on this list is going to surprise you, because not a lot of people talk about it in the track racing community, but those who know. The Chevrolet G-Body is one of the easiest cars to LS swap. Not only are there a ton of kits, but a lot of these cars came with a V8 to begin with, so there's a lot of space in their engine bays for a lot of different activities, if you know what I mean. Turbos, if you didn't get the hint. So you can fit a lot of stuff in these engine bays, and there's a lot of space. There's no banging or hammering. There's tons and tons of kits for you to be able to put everything all together. And if this is going to be your first LS swap, this is probably one of the easiest ones to do so.
Bonus round.
Before I get to number 1 on this list, I do want to talk about some honorable mentions. So the Fox Body Mustang, the SN95, the New Edge Mustang, the Nissan 240Z, as well as the Porsche 944 are all very, very good cars to LS swap. The reason that they didn't make the top 5 on this list is getting the swap kits for some of them, like the 240Z and the 944, are getting harder and harder because less and less people are making the swap kits. And while there are still a lot of swap kits you can get for the Fox Body SN95 and New Edge Mustang, there isn't as much support because a lot of people are doing that custom fabrication wise. And you guys have probably seen all the crazy ones that get built, but the engine and transmission mounts you can get for them, but after that it does become a little bit more difficult to swap everything else out in there. Plus the hate you're going to get from all the Ford boys. I'm not discouraging you from doing LS swaps in those cars. They deserve to be turbo LS swapped, absolutely. But for the sake of easiness, they're just not as easy as the other 4 that I just mentioned.
Number 1.
Come on, you know what number 1 is. If you've watched anything else in this channel, you know exactly what it is, because I did it myself. It's the BMW E36. It is hands down the easiest car to do an LS swap in. And here's why. Not only are there multiple places to get engine and transmission mounts like CX Racing, Siki, and the guys who I got my mounts from, New Age Hot Rods, but you can get drive shafts that are direct fit from the engine or from the transmission to the rear end of this car, like the one I got from New Age Hot Rods, which was specifically designed for a T56 to an E36 rear end. In addition, you can get wiring harnesses that are completely plug and play, where the dash and gauges all light up and work as they were supposed to from the factory. And my car has the New Age Hot Rods LS1 E36 radiator. So it is a radiator designed to have an LS1 in the E36. It was direct drop-in like it was supposed to be there. And when you're dealing with an LS engine, it definitely needs a better radiator than what the E36s normally come with. And what most other cars normally come with, you will probably have to upgrade the radiator. It all comes in there, plug and play. They even make power steering lines that are designed for an E36 to the LS swap. They make brake booster deletes, brake booster relocation kits, ABS relocation kits. I mean, if you name it, there has been an LS swap design solution for the E36. And that's why I did it, and that's why it's number 1 on this list. Now, in addition to that, they make full exhausts. It's the only model that I've talked about that you can get full exhaust from the headers back out of the entire car. Bolt on, no welding, no fabrication. That's how easy it is to LS swap an E36. Now, you're going to pay for everything, like I just said. And if you can do this stuff custom fabrication-wise and welding, it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper. But if you want plug and play, ease of use, the E36 is the best car, and the E36 is the easiest car to do an LS swap in. If you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing. I upload a video every week about cars, Whether it's my E36 Turbo LS swap, C5 Corvette that's a track car, my 1966 Ford Mustang that I'm doing a 351 Windsor swap in, plus a bunch of other cars that I work on with my dad and some of my friends, in addition to reviews and of the parts and all the other components that I put on the cars to help you guys figure out what you want to do to yours. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.